A volcano is coming, people, soon, so get ready. One of my patrons suggested I make a video about the Long Valley Caldera near Mammoth Lakes, California. I had never heard of it before. So I did a little research and thought, yeah, this would make a good video. But there's not enough story there yet, so I'll just kind of put it on the shelf for later. But I've been reading articles lately about why Californians shouldn't be worrying about fires and earthquakes as much as they should be worrying about volcanoes. So what's the Long Valley Caldera and why should we care about volcanoes in California? I mean, what else can happen, right? Fires, earthquakes, mudslides, droughts. These people have enough on their plate. Besides, volcanoes just happen in other places, right? Like on an island, Hawaii maybe, or maybe somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Washington State, right? It's just something we read about or see on TV from time to time when our flights get rerouted because of the ash. Well, in California's case, they may be right in that it's going to happen sooner or later. While there are lots of extinct volcanoes in California, there are currently 8 active ones that have the potential of erupting. And there are 4 of them they are looking at real closely. According to the experts, there's a 16% chance it's going to happen in the next 30 years. But what is this Long Valley Caldera, and should we even be concerned about it? The Long Valley Caldera in the eastern part of California, just south of Lake Tahoe, was formed when a supervolcano there exploded around 760,000 years ago. And the lava covered thousands of square miles and the ash covered most of the western part of North America. It was big, which is why they called it a supervolcano. At the time, there were several other volcanoes in the area, but this one supervolcano destroyed all of them. Well, almost all of them because Glass Mountain is still there, but it was a long ways off. And the Long Valley Caldera is still there too. The Long Valley Caldera is a huge depression in the ground and is one of the biggest calderas in the world, and it's still percolating. This caldera is 20 miles long and 11 miles wide, and the magma goes down 3,000 feet. Just imagine, if you can, what a volcano 20 miles wide looks like, and you'll get the picture. The elevation of this caldera is between 6,500 and 8,500 feet, but it's not a mountain because it's surrounded by mountains like Mammoth Mountain, which itself is a lava dome and rises up to 11,000 feet. So the Long Valley Caldera is like a volcano, but without the mountain. All clear now? It's just a big bowl of lava. But it's not like the Hawaiian Islands that are made from volcanoes or Yellowstone with its geysers. This thing is different. So, back to the volcanoes that they're concerned about in California. Of these 8 volcanoes, and yes, Long Valley is one of them, 4 have erupted the last 3,000 years and are considered to be high to very high-risk areas. These are Mount Shasta, Medicine Lake Volcano, Lassen Volcanic Center, they're all in the northern part of the state, and the Salton Buttes near the southern border. Obviously, a volcano can cause widespread damage like ballistic showers of rocks, fast-moving ash or lava called pyroclastic flows, and acid rain. And even though the science is better at predicting these events, it's still not an exact science. An example would be Mount St. Helens in 1980. For 2 months they knew it was going to blow because the side of it was bulging, but they couldn't give an exact date and time. In spite of the warnings, though, 57 people died in that eruption. And they had 2 months of warnings. Many of the victims were never recovered, and one couple died watching it from 23 miles away. Before the eruption, Mount St. Helens was the 5th highest peak in Washington. Now it's the 30th highest peak. And the Mount St. Helens eruption is still the deadliest in this country's history, but that can always change because there's always something bigger. So why is there a sudden interest in volcanoes in California? I mean, don't they have enough natural disasters out there already to write about? Well, for some reason, all of these articles are coming out about the hidden threat of volcanoes in California and that the residents are not prepared. Okay, I get that. Be prepared. But unlike fires and earthquakes, volcanoes just don't happen instantaneously, right? I mean, first there's a little steam, then there's some more steam, then there's some rumbling, and so on and so forth. I'm just saying that volcanoes do give a little advance notice, right? At least all of the recent ones have given some notice, like the one in Hawaii and a big one in Malaysia that took out an entire island. My friend who suggested the Long Valley Caldera story said that back in the day it became big news when they realized what they were sitting on. And how did it become big news? Well, in May of 1980, the same month and year that Mount St. Helens erupted, 4 Richter magnitude 6 earthquakes struck the southern part of the Long Valley Caldera. It moved the caldera 10 inches in a dome-shaped uplift of the floor. Now, this was at the same time the eruption happened in Washington State, so it probably did get everybody's attention, don't you think? So what did they do? Well, first they built a new road for everyone to get out of if it happened, and they called it the Mammoth Escape Route. The local businesses complained, obviously, so they changed it to the Mammoth Scenic Loop. I bet it will be real scenic when you see lava and rocks and ash chasing you in the rear view mirror going 300 miles an hour. That'll be exciting. And since 1980, the earthquakes haven't stopped and the dome keeps rising. In 1982, the United States Geological Survey team, under the Volcano Hazards Program, decided that maybe they should study this thing a little closer and start monitoring it for whatever activity might come their way. I think that's when they discovered how big this thing really was. Good move, survey team. But byproducts, there's always byproducts, you know, and they are these thermal hot springs that have sprung up with all this activity, and they have become very popular swimming holes. There is one in particular, Hot Creek, that had been used for decades. Unfortunately, over a dozen people have died there over the years, 14 I think, because these pools of heated water tend to erupt from time to time. So, since 2006, Hot Creek has been closed for swimming, which is probably a good thing. The big attraction in Mammoth Lakes is the snow skiing in the winter and the mountain biking in the summer. Mammoth Lakes gets tons of snow each year. Well, at least when a drought isn't going on. There are lots of lakes in the area, and one in particular, Lake Crowley, I have camped at. Lake Crowley was created from a dam in the Owens River Gorge, and it is a partial restoration from the original lake that resided there over 100,000 years ago, but drained into the caldera, which in turn created the Owens River Gorge. An interesting tidbit I discovered is that during the last ice age, glaciers filled the canyons leading to the Long Valley, but the valley floor was clear of ice. Why this was, I don't know, but I think I should find out, although my initial thoughts are that the caldera might be a little too hot for ice. So, a volcano is going to erupt at some point in California, but probably not during my lifetime. But I wouldn't worry too much unless it's the Long Valley Caldera, because if it did, that would not be good, especially if you can't find the escape route because its label is a scenic loop. You'd think that the sheriff of that county would have fixed that somehow. That's all I got.
One more time. Play that soul.
I wish I was a little bit taller, so every time I step into the record store I wouldn't have to holler. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm only 5'6", got the bricks for the fix to raise me up an inch. I can see the Whitney records from here, they're in my view. If you could help me for a second, I will always love you. She's my girl, oh wait, was that CCR too? Man, go back up the ladder, I'm about to revive you. They call me Proud Mary, got a spell on you. If you heard it through the grapevine, then you know that it's true. It's like this and like that, satisfaction boo. You can push me and touch me if you really want to. This is Ivy on the mic with the quad in view. You can call me Redwood when this beat rolls through, cause the roots are so deep they'd swallow you. Plus we always so high, we be taller than all of you.
the King Crook. Pulling on my hair can't damage these roots. Way before rhythm, there was just the blues. In a time where soul was better than shoes. Before Sam Cooke meant the front page news. And way before Smokey just wanted to cruise. Fast Domino just sang about Heather. Magic being made over at Chess Records. Al Green just wanna stay together. And my boy Rob John sold his soul to the devil forever.
Of Al Green and Otis, Brown Queens and Oldies, Jazz Swing the Soul Kings. And he just what you call a heater with some cold playing loud in the background. Bow for the black crowd, but it ain't about the color. Follow that with some Elton John's, Benny in the Jets. That's a fat sound. It's a fact how the past is coming back round. Everybody loves a new nostalgia, so get down.
Born amidst the era of gold, when I heard my daddy's vinyl through the flow. From Marvin to Luther to Patty to Whitney, McCartney to the Bee Gees, MJ. Who would have thought revolution of records would bring about evolution for the better? My soul comes for those that paved the road. Play it like a console and I take control.